All right, now we're on to page 2 of the review for the quiz, and we have this -2 that we have to deal with first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give that to each of these. Since everything's multiplying in here, everybody gets that. So this is going to become a to the +8, c to the -6, 6 to the -2, and b to the -2. Okay, and then I've got all this that I'm keeping the same. Okay. Now the variables will be probably the easier part. So a to the 8th times a to the 3rd would give me a to the 11th up on top. C to the -6, c to the 1st will give me c to the -5. And because it's -5, it's going to drop it down to the bottom. So it's going to become a c to the +5 on the bottom. This b to the -2, b to the +2 will become b to the 0. And b to the 0 is equal to 1, so that's just going to go away. Don't have to worry about it. Okay. The one that could be the tricky one is this 6 to the -2. Now, 6 to the -2 is the same as 1 over 6 to the 2nd power, which is 36, but it's on the bottom, right? So if I have 1 over 6 to the -2, that means it's coming up to the top, and that's going to become 36 then up on the top. The negative brings it up. 6 squared becomes 36. So what we're going to end up having then is 36 over 18, and that's equal to 2. So our final simplified answer here is that. Again, kind of crazy with that number. If that threw you off a little bit, don't freak out. But again, try to get a handle. The negatives mean these should go to the other level. All right. And then we can kind of work from them there. Over here, this is an expansion. I'm going to go ahead and take 3 squared of x, multiply it into both of these. So 3 times 6 is 18. Square root of x times square root of x is just x. 3 times 8 is 24, and I've got the square root of x with that. Next one, I've got -4 times 6. That's going to give me a -24 square root of x. And then -4 times 8 is a -32. All right. We can see that these are going to cancel out, and so what we end up with is a simple enough thing, 18x minus 32. So fairly simple solution there. And this one wants us to factor, and so we saw one of these on our worksheet before. We have an x minus 5 in both of them. We're going to pull that x minus 5 out. We're going to have 3x squared minus 75 left over. Okay. Now, these aren't perfect squares, so we can't break them into the two things quite like we did on the first worksheet. But what we can do is we can pull a 3 out. And I'll pull that all the way out to the front. And if I pull a 3 away from this, it'll give me x squared. And if I divide that by 3, I get 25. Now that's a perfect difference of squares. And so I can break that into x plus 5, x minus 5. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally fine. But you'll see you have 2x minus 5 terms. So if you wanted to just kind of clean it up a little bit, you could write that as x minus 5 squared. Either of these answers would make us happy, right? You don't have to get worried about that. All right, last one here then is a factoring one. So I see I've got a negative here. So I'm going to pull that negative out. I'm just going to write it up here, x squared plus 4x plus 4. That's taking the negative away from everything. And I can see that two numbers that multiply to equal this and add to equal that would be +2 and +2. So I've got like a -1 sitting in front here, and then 2x plus 2's there. Okay. I'll come back to that one up here. 30x minus 5, those can both be divisible by 5, so I'll pull that 5 out. I'm going to have 6x minus 1 left over there. Okay. On the bottom here, I see I've divided, everything there is divisible by 5, so I'm going to pull that 5 out. And now I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to equal -8 and add to equal -2. Those numbers are -4 and +2. Okay. And then the last one that I've been avoiding is this one, because the 3 doesn't come out of all of them, so that means I have to include the 3 as part of this, which is kind of a nuisance, but I still know that these back numbers multiply to equal -10, so that doesn't change. So there's only so many options. The one thing I have to keep in mind is that when I multiply it out, 3x is going to multiply this term. That'll be my outer term. And then this will give me my inner term. And then the combination of those is what will give me this 1x. So I can play around with it a little bit. Eventually I'm going to find that if I put positive 2 here and negative 5 there, then my outside will be 6x when I multiply. Inside negative 5x, together that gives me that 1x. So again, it's just patience. Don't get frustrated. Just kind of keep working until you get something that gets you out to there. All right, now a whole lot of things are going out. 5's going away. X plus 2 with this x plus 2, this x plus 2 with this x plus 2. Since everything's multiplying, we can go ahead and start slashing things. We've got that negative and this 6x minus 1. That's up on the top. And then on the bottom, we have this 3x minus 5 and x minus 4. All right, and so then that's all we can do. That's the simplified answer for that one.